Welcome, Mama. I see you. The late nights, the early mornings, the never-ending to-do lists. You clicked on this video because you're feeling exhausted, and I know exactly what that's like. It can feel like you're giving everything to everyone, yet there's nothing left for you. Your energy is drained, your patience is thin, and sometimes it just feels like you're just surviving, barely making it through the day. But you don't have to feel this way forever. What if I told you that with a few small changes, you could reclaim your peace, your joy, and even your energy? Today, I'm going to share 9 tips that turned my exhaustion around. And trust me, one of them at the end is something I never expected would have such a huge impact. It's a game changer. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have some powerful tools to start feeling better. Now let's dive into the real talk. We all know the drill. It's 6:30 a.m. and before you've even opened your eyes, your toddler is already calling you from the next room. The baby's crying and the breakfast you promised them probably an hour ago now is still in the fridge. The house, it's a mess. The laundry, it's piled up. You haven't even had your coffee and the clock is ticking. You've got a million things to do and you're already feeling behind. Sound familiar? Yes, this was my daily routine too. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to stay like this. It's possible to move from just getting by to actually thriving. I realized that the exhaustion wasn't just a symptom of motherhood. It was a sign that something needed to change. And trust me, I get it. Changing habits and mindsets isn't easy, but it's so worth it. And that's exactly why I'm here, to walk you through the 9 tips that transformed the way that I live my life as a mother and a homemaker. Let's get started. Let's start with the big one. Rest. Why is it so hard for us to prioritize rest as mums? We feel guilty for taking time to recharge, thinking that if we aren't constantly moving, we're failing. But here's the truth, rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. When I first became a mum, I didn't allow myself to rest. I pushed through the exhaustion, telling myself that I didn't need to sleep. But eventually I hit a wall. I was irritable, frazzled, and not at my best for my children. I realized I needed to take a break, and I needed to take it now. And it's biblical. In Genesis, God took a day to rest after creating the world. If the Creator himself needed a break, then so do we. So give yourself permission to rest. It might look like taking a 15-minute nap when the kids nap. Maybe locking yourself in the bathroom for a few moments of quiet, or even letting go of the idea that your house always has to be spotless. Remember, taking rest doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. Let's move on to tip number 2. It's to learn to say no. I can't tell you how many times I said yes to things because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Whether it was volunteering for yet another activity, overscheduling my week with people to see because I didn't want to disappoint, or even saying yes to just one more thing on my own to-do list. Sound familiar? Here's the truth I had to learn. Every yes to others is a no to something that really matters. And let's face it, as mums, our time is precious. The moment I started saying no to things that drained me, I started saying yes to more peace and more rest and more time with my family. So here's a simple exercise for you. Practice saying no in a gentle way. Something like, thank you so much for thinking of me, but I won't be able to help with that this time. And don't feel bad about it. Saying no doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means you're protecting your time, energy, and heart. Trust me, saying no is one of the best self-care tools you can use. I'll never forget the day I realised I couldn't do it all. I was juggling multiple tasks at once. My 1-year-old toddler was in a full meltdown mode, and my newborn was crying in the other room. My husband came home and I just kind of lost it. I broke down right there in the kitchen. I wasn't angry, I wasn't sad, I was just exhausted. And in that moment, I heard God whisper to my heart, you don't have to do everything, and you don't have to do it alone. That was my turning point, really. I realised that I was running on empty, trying to meet everyone's needs without ever refilling my own. That's when I started implementing the tips I'm sharing with you today, and let me tell you, things started to shift almost immediately. Here's a game-changing tip: the 5-minute rest. This is something I use when I feel overwhelmed and like I'm drowning in chaos. When everything feels like it's spiraling, take 5 minutes. Set a timer and focus on one small thing. It might be tidying up the kitchen counter, taking a few deep breaths, or grabbing a cup of water even. It's amazing how much clarity and peace just this small action can bring. And here's a secret. In those 5 minutes, I'll often use a devotional or a prayer to recenter myself. That brief pause allows me to refocus, not just physically, but spiritually as well. I'd open my hands and say, Lord, enlarge my heart for this, while promising myself that if I tackle this overwhelming moment faithfully, I can cry in 20 minutes time. So when things feel out of control, try hitting the reset button. It's a small moment of calm in the middle of the storm. Tip number 4 is to find your anchor in faith. Now, I know this might not be for everyone, but for me, the biggest source of strength and peace has been my relationship with God. When I felt like I couldn't do it all, He reminded me of His promise. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This verse became my lifeline. Whenever I felt like I was on the brink of burnout, I would stop and take a few minutes to pray or meditate on scripture. And you know what? It made all the difference. So I encourage you to find time to reconnect with God, whether it's morning Bible reading, a quiet prayer during the day, or listening to uplifting music. Don't underestimate how much it can strengthen you in the toughest moments. Moving on to a practical tip for tip number 5, it's to wear your baby. If you have a young baby, wear them. I know it might seem like just one more thing to do, but hear me out. When you wear your baby in a carrier, you're not only keeping them close, but you're also freeing up your hands to do other things. It's a game changer for me. There are so many days when I felt like I couldn't get anything done because my baby needed to be held. And as I'm in the newborn phase with baby number 3, it's become all the more important again. But wearing him allowed me to fold laundry and prep dinner and even catch up on a few chores while giving him the comfort of still being close. And you know what? It's also helped my mental load. Having my baby so close to me gave me that connection and gave me a moment to feel like I was balancing my own needs with his. So if you haven't tried it yet, give baby wearing a go. It's an incredible way to keep both your baby and your sanity intact. I'll leave my favourites in the description below for you. Tip number 6 is to stay hydrated and add electrolytes to your water. I know we've all heard the drink more water advice, but this one is truly a game changer. Staying hydrated is critical for your energy, but let's face it, water alone sometimes doesn't feel like enough, so adding those electrolytes helps replenish the minerals your body loses throughout the day, especially when you're busy running after your little ones or you're breastfeeding. I'll leave the electrolytes that I use down in the description below. They're a natural, clean way to keep my body energized, and they actually taste great. So I definitely recommend these ones. They're a natural brand that are keto approved and free from any artificial sweeteners. So if you're feeling sluggish, try adding electrolytes to your routine and you'll feel the difference. Tip number 7 is to take your vitamins. I'm going to be totally real with you. I used to skip my vitamins all the time. But the truth is, as a busy mum, we need all the support we can get. I take a multivitamin every morning along with a few others, and it's made such a difference in how I feel throughout the day. I'll link my favourite vitamins in the description for you, because taking care of your body is just as important as taking care of everything else. A good vitamin routine can support your energy, immunity and overall well-being, making it one less thing to worry about in that chaos of motherhood. Tip number 8 is to identify your one non-negotiable. As mums, we often feel like everything is urgent, but the truth is, some things can actually wait. For me, one non-negotiable is a clean kitchen before bed. I really try, no matter what, and sometimes I miss it, but I really do try to make sure that the sink is cleared and the dishes are done and the counters are wiped down. It's my small win for the day, and it sets the tone for a peaceful evening and a peaceful morning the next day. What's your non-negotiable? It could be a quiet moment to yourself, a workout, or even just time with your spouse. Whatever it is, make it a priority. When you do, it helps you feel more in control and less overwhelmed. And now here it is, tip number 9, the one thing that truly transformed how I handle stress and exhaustion. It's letting go of guilt. For so long, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. But here's the secret. You don't have to be perfect to be enough. Your value as a mother isn't determined by how much you do, but by how much you love. And you know what? The rhythms that I've implemented in my home that I share in this video have impacted me in profound ways. But until then, remember, you are loved, you are seen, and you're doing better than you think. Take care, Mama.